This is not your average wristlet. It's a boho macrame dream with tiny little flower charms that make it extra special. And I'll be showing you how you can make this. Here from BOCHIKNOT Macrame, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you an exciting project, and that is a DIY wristlet with flower charms. This pattern is beginner friendly and it is such a fun project if you're looking to make something cute, functional, and stylish. We will be using 2mm cord to make the little flower charms, and working with 2mm cord can be a little bit tricky because it is so thin, so you have to make very tiny knots. But don't worry, I'll be walking you through step by step so you can get the flowers just right. I'm so excited for you guys to get started, and with that said, let's jump right in. Listed here are the materials and supplies, along with some tools that are required for this project. And then here are the suggested cord lengths. For this pattern, you'll need a few materials and supplies. So we are making a wristlet, so you will need a lobster clasp, and I'm going to be using this silver colored swivel lobster clasp. And then because we're making little flower charms to attach them onto the macrame pattern itself, we're going to use these little jump rings. They're approximately 8mm in diameter. I think they're just the right size for what we're trying to do. If you have slightly bigger ones or slightly smaller ones, they should work as well. They should have an opening. So we'll need 3 of those because we're making 3 flower charms. If you want to add more, then you'll need more. For the base pattern, so the actual wristlet, we'll be using this 3mm 3-ply metallic cord, and this is in the color champagne gold, and it's actually really nice. It has really thin metallic fibers. You can actually fringe this one out pretty nicely. We don't want that for this particular pattern though. We're using it to make a wristlet pattern, so it'll be nice and sturdy. Working with metallic cord does mean that the ends do unravel pretty easily, whether it's 3-ply, single strand, or whatnot. And so recommend after cutting each strand of cord to tie these overhand knots on each side to prevent it from unraveling. For the little flower charms, we will be using 2mm single strand cord. So this is in natural. I like using 2mm cord for more delicate patterns, and that's what we're going to be doing for the little flower charms. We're going to make one in buttercream, natural, and milk white. And as for some special tools for this project, you will need a skinnier crochet hook. Because we're not using any glue in this project, I prefer not using glue if you don't have to. We're going to tuck the loose cord ends at the back, and because we're working with 2mm cord, you'll need a skinnier crochet hook. So I'm using one in 1.5mm, so anything less than 2mm will work. The smaller the better for 2mm because the knots are so small, so 1.5 is just right. And because we're using those really strong jump rings, you'll need some jewelry pliers just to help you open them and close them. So for this pattern, I'll be using a macrame board and some T-pins to work from. If you don't have one, that's really okay. A stable surface like a desk and some tape will work just as fine. So we're going to start with our lobster clasp, and we're just going to pin it down so it's easier to work from. Then taking our 300cm strand of 3mm cord, and I'm using this champagne metallic cord. We're going to weave it through the bottom of the lobster clasp, and then make a lark knot. So place the loop end through, pull the ends through to tighten, so make it fairly tight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take an 100 centimeter strand of 2mm string. Sorry, we're just going to loosen it just a little bit, and we're just going to weave it through the middle of the lark's head knot. So just weave one cord through to the back side, and then weave one through the front to the back. So in between the lark's head knot and to the back. Match the ends together, pull to tighten, and then re-tighten the lark's head knot. Make sure that the 2mm string is hidden underneath. Re-tighten the lark's head knot like so. All the ends should be even, as in the gold cord ends should be even at the bottom, and also the string ends should be even. So now we're ready to make a series of square knots. We're going to be using the champagne cords, the 3mm cords as the working cords, and then the 2mm natural cotton cords as the anchor cords. Your square knots are going to look much smaller than usual because we're using such thinner anchor cords. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to leave a little bit of space, about an inch, since we're going to fold the pattern over later to make the wristlet. So start off with a half knot, which is the first part of the square knot. So once we're about an inch, finish off the other half of the square knot, tighten your first square knot, and then we're going to continue repeating this square knot pattern. So now we have 2 square knots made. I'm going to show you a few more. Now we're going to continue repeating this pattern until we reach a total of 35 centimeters in length, which is approximately 14 inches. It's pretty much until you run out of working cord lengths. So if you have about an inch or two left and you're at about 14 inches or 35 centimeters in length from the bottom of the lobster clasp to the bottom of the square knot pattern, then it's the right time to stop. So once we're done, this is what the pattern should look like. At the end, you should have a few shorter strands left, and then if we fold it over, it's a decently sized wristlet. I like that it is skinnier than your typical square knot pattern. And so now what we're going to do is seal off the wristlet at the top. So we've already folded it over, and then now we're going to make a gathering knot right there. So match the start and end of the square knot patterns, and then with a 35 centimeter strand of cord, place it on top, make a loop at the bottom, and then we're going to wrap it around several times, in that space that we left. So wrapping it around nice and snug. Until we get to the bottom of the loop. So now what we're going to do is take the end through the loop at the bottom, pull on the top end. Make sure you remember where you started and then pull on the top end to tighten. Make sure that the bottom here goes up through the middle of the gathered cords. So it might mean that you have to pull it more. And then once there, we can now snip off all of the excess. So if there's any scratched up cords, pull on them. Make sure nothing is scrunched up. But once everything looks good, we can snip off the excess. And the wristlet portion is now complete. And now what we're going to do is decorate it with some little daisy flower add-ons. Okay, to make a little daisy flower, what we're going to use is 2mm cord for this so that they're cute and tiny. We're going to start off with a 20cm long string. We're going to wrap it, fold it over like this. Then taking an 130cm long string, measure one end to 35cm. So using measuring tape, 35cm, hold that spot, fold it over. Then ensuring that the shorter end is on the left, longer end is on the right, make a reverse lark's head knot onto the overlapped loops. Okay, like so. And then we're going to pin it down and work like this. Now, the shorter end still on this side, longer end on this side, and we're just going to make a series of vertical lark's head knots. So starting with the working cord, this is the anchor cord, working cord, go over through the right, tighten, under through the right, tighten, over through the right, tighten, under through the right, tighten. So we've made 2 vertical lark's head knots. We're going to make 5 per petal, so make 3 more here, over, under, over, under, over, under. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first 5 vertical lark's head knots are complete. Now we're gonna fold it over, and then using the anchor cord, make a vertical lark's head knot onto the overlapped loops. So we're just gonna go under the loop and bring that same cord back down, but through the petal. So right there, then pull on it nice and snug. So this is the first half of the vertical lark's head knot. So we went under and through the right, And now we're going to go over and through the right. Now before you fully tighten it, retighten the first half, hold it if you can, and then tighten the knot. Then shift it close together. Our first petal is made, and now we're going to repeat for 4 more petals. So placing the pattern back down, using the same anchor cord and working cord, make another 5 vertical lark's head knots. So once you're done, we're going to fold it over. Something I forgot to mention about that one is you can tighten it by pulling on the anchor cords if you want the knots nice and snug. If you haven't done it, you can still do it now, and then you can shift the cords if need be. But if you're happy with the sizing of this petal, it's consistent with the first one, then make another vertical lark's head knot onto the center loops. So we're going to go under and through the right, this, and then over and through the right, and then shift. And now we have 2 petals. So repeat for 3 more petals here. Okay, once you have made all 5 petals, our petals look even, we're ready to tighten this up. So with the 2 anchor cord ends, we're just going to pull on them tightly on both sides. So until we have closed up the loop in the center. So pull. If you made some tight knots, you might need to pull a little bit harder. And then once you have like a little round circle like this, just push the first petal and last petal together. And then once you're done, this is what the little flower should look like. Now to clean it up a little, with the 2 anchor cord ends, ensuring that you did tighten up everything well, because once we cut off the strands of cords, you can't fix it or adjust it. So if you're happy with it, we will now snip off the excess anchor cord ends. So yes, those are the anchor cord ends, and we're just going to snip it all off. Tuck the ends at the back. Don't worry about it coming undone because we did wrap it around twice, so it won't come undone super easily. And then now with the 2 remaining ends, what we're going to do is tuck them through the back. So that shorter end, the anchor cord end, what we're going to do is, using a small crochet hook, so if you're using 2mm cord, usually you would use something 2mm or less. I'm using a 1.5, and so we're going to weave through some loops I'm weaving it through the loop right beside. So that the petal that we started with, and we're just going to pull the cord end through. Now you don't need to weave it through too many knots. I think this would even be sufficient on its own, but I'm just going to wrap it around the same loop and pull it through once more. So here. Okay. Once you've wrapped it around the same loop twice, you can now snip off the excess. And now we can do the same thing with the other cord end. So probably with the loop right there, weave it through and then snip off the excess. Once weaved through, this is what it should look like. And we're now done our first daisy. You can make as many as you like in different colors if you like. I'm going to make a total of 3 and then show you how to attach them onto the wristlet. Okay, so once you're done all 3 daisy flower patterns, this is what they look like. I made one in buttercream, natural, and milk white. And now we're ready to attach them onto the top of the wristlet for decoration. It depends on how you want to decorate it. I think I'm going to go with natural first, then milk, then buttercream, like that. And we're just going to alternate sides and kind of use these like charms. To do that, we're going to need some jump rings. Now I've already opened them. If you need help opening them, you'll need some jewelry pliers for this. And it's hard on your fingers. Just use something that is strong, like your scissors, and you can use it to be the other end to help guide and open your jump rings. And you can use them to close too. So because my jump rings are small, they're around 8 millimeters in diameter, we're just going to thread it through the top of a petal. So try to get a full section if you can. And I'm going to just thread it through this way, like that. Through the vertical Lark's head knot loop. And then attach this onto the top of the wristlet. And we're going to attach it onto the Lark's head knot loop instead of the bottom of, or the sides of the lobster clasp. So right here, thread it through, and then now we can close. So to close, you can use your finger, or here is easy because there's already metal backing from the lobster clasp. So just hold it there and then push the other side so that they match to close. And then that first charm is now attached. You can of course stop right there with just one charm if you'd like. I'm going to show you how to add a few more to the sides of the pattern. So taking our second one, we are going to weave it through that Lark's head knot loop at the top of the flower petal. And this one I'm going to go off to the right side, so overlapping slightly, so we're going to probably do it right there. So threading it through the right side of that square knot, making sure you make it all the way through. Once you do, you can use your scissors to help with this, and push the jump ring back to close. And then voila! Then you have your second flower hanging on the right side, like so. How cute is this? And then repeat once more. You can alternate it on the left. Then once done, this is what the pattern looks like. You have a daisy flower wristlet with little charms, daisy charm wristlet. And that's a wrap with our very unique macrame wristlet with flower charms. What do you guys think of this pattern? Let me know in the comment section below. These little flower charms are so fun, and now that you know how to make them, you can incorporate them into any other macrame project. You can add them to your bag patterns, your wall hangings, your plant hangers. The possibilities are endless. If you guys are interested in more unique macrame patterns just like this, we do have exclusive tutorials over on our BOCHIKNOT macrame community on Patreon and over on our YouTube membership. For more details, check out the links in the video description below. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.